Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuvches, Siman 108. Dine hachitin ve'akemach l'hamatzos. The laws of the wheat and the flour used for matzah. Halacha Aleph, the first halacha. Ksiv, it is written, over in Shemois Yud Beis Yud Zayin. That is Exodus 12:17. It says, and we're going to just quote a snippet of this pasuk: "Ushmartam es hamatzos," and you shall guard the matzahs. Mikan, from here, from this snippet of this verse, we learn shetzarikun lishmor es hachitin l'shem matzos mitzvah. We learned that there is a need to guard the wheat for the purpose of the matzah's mitzvah, for the matzah that we use to fulfill the mitzvah, the actual mitzvah of the Seder, the meal that we eat on the night of Passover. Why? What does that mean? Shelo yova'u aleihim maim. That shouldn't be that water should come upon them. Because if it gets wet, then it becomes chametz. Uladas katsas mikadole hapoiskim zichronim lebracha. And according to the opinion of a few of the great legal decisors, the poskim, zichronim lebracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Tzurichen shmira zu, that this shmira, this guarding, is required miyad, immediately, mishas katsira, from the time of the reaping, the harvesting, va'elach, and onward. So, according to some poskim, the need to guard the wheat from getting wet is incumbent from the time that the wheat is initially reaped. Of all, but haminaghu, but the custom is kal poskim, like the poskim, like the other poskim, the regular poskim, the majority, because we try to comply with the minority, but we follow the majority. So we try to make all parties happy. We try to comply with all opinions if possible. But there is the main ruling, and then there are the minority rulings, which are usually stricter than the majority. So, of all, but haminik hu ka poskim, the custom is like the decisors, the poskim, the sagi luhu, that it's sufficient b'shmira concerning guarding. Misha shemolchen oisen l'tchon va'elach. From the time misha shemolichen, from the time that we bring them, oisen them, l'tchon, for grinding, va'elach, and then onward. So the majority opinion is that we from the time when we bring them to be ground, that's when we start watching. To make sure that it doesn't become chametz, that it doesn't get wet, that it doesn't ferment or rise. Okay. Va'ach, however, hamadakdichen b'mitzvos, those people who are punctilious, those people who are stringent in their observance of the mitzvahs, the commandments, choshishin l'shmira mishas katsira. They are choshesh, they are concerned for the guarding from the time of the katsira, from the time of the initial reaping of the wheat. V'kein nakon lasos, and such is proper, nakon, proper, lasos, to do. So definitely we can always be more strict. The general opinion is that we have to be careful with the wheat from the time that we bring it to be milled. But the author here tells us that it's also proper, if we can, to be more stringent and to guard the wheat from getting wet immediately after it is harvested. Okay. V'roi, and it's proper, it's fitting. L'daktek shelo yamdu hashibolim b'mechuber, and it is proper, it's fitting, l'daktek, to be careful, shelo yamdu shibolim, that we do not allow the shibolim, the heads of grain, to remain mechuber, in a state of being mechuber, attached to the ground. Ad sheyis yabshu kol zarachan, until they dry all the way that they need. V'yalbidnu, and they become whitish. So when grain is ready to be harvested, it dries there on the plant, on the stalk, and it becomes, it goes from a green color to a more yellowish white color. We've all seen pictures of wheat ready to be harvested. So what it's saying is that we have to be careful not to let it go that far. Why shouldn't we let it go that far when we're harvesting for the purpose of matzah? Kiyas, because then, im yerdu alehem gashamim, if rain comes down on them, gashamim, rain, if rain comes down on them, yachmitzu afilu b'mechuber, it will become chametz, it will ferment, even afilu b'mechuber, while it is attached. Kevin, since she'einen zrichos od l'karcha, since it no longer needs the karcha, the ground. It's basically, the plant is no longer growing, it's there, the plant is essentially dead. It's just in a state of drying, and so the plant no longer needs the water and whatnot from the ground, and it's not in a state of drying, so it is not in a state of growing. It's in a state of decay. To some extent, the drying process is a decaying process, and if it gets wet, then it can become chametz. It can become, it can ferment. Okay, and therefore, roy, it is proper, v'nachon, and fitting, and liksor ba'od sheyesh behen od katsas mare yurakus. Therefore, it is proper, roy, v'nachon, and fitting, liksor, to harvest ba'od sheyesh behen od, while there is still some in it. What's in it? Katsas mara yurachos, a little bit of a green appearance. It's saying it's proper to harvest it while it still has a slight green appearance, right before it turns from the greenish yellow to the whitish yellow that wheat does. And it is an art to know, based on the weather of the farmer's region and whatnot, there is an art to knowing precisely when to harvest. For matzah, when is too green, when is too, when are you in the danger zone for the dry? There is a preference. A lot of the matzah wheat is grown in more desert climates to avoid this problem. But that's today. But there's still wheat also grown in wet environments like New York and other places. Okay. Umi she'efshar lo bechitin shmuros, and whoever it is possible for him to obtain chitin shmuros, the guarded wheat, mishas katsira, from the time of katsira, l'chol yimei hachag, for the entirety of the chag, for the entire 7 days in Eretz Yisrael and 8 days in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Israel. Somebody who can use this sort of flour, these sort of matzos, for the entirety of the holiday, the festival, matov, all the better. Ve'imla, but if not, roy lo, is fitting for him, al kol panim, at the very least, lahadar bezeh lamatzos she'ala seder, to attempt to beautify the mitzvah, to seek out matzahs for the seder, b'shnei leilos, by the two nights of the seder, first 2 nights of Passover. At the very least, he should try to look for such matzahs, shmura matzahs, guarded matzahs for the night of the seder. Okay, that was a long one. I hope it was beneficial. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Keep learning. Hatzlacha Rabba. Next time we'll do the next Mishnah. Kol Tov.